Hi, I'm Elsie. Welcome to my garden, and today I'm going to go harvest some potatoes. Before I jump to the harvest, let me show you what I've got going on. So right here, I've got some potatoes in raised beds, and over here, I have potatoes in a grow bag right here, and over here, I have a side of the house that I wasn't sure what to do with. So this gets a fair bit of sunshine. It actually gets quite baked, and ornamentals weren't doing very well here. But on top of that, we had quite a bit of water drainage issue with the house when we moved in. So my husband actually dug a huge trench under the lawn here, a couple of feet down, for a French drain, which totally destroyed the beds that were here. But you know, thank goodness the house isn't getting flooded anymore. And then this area turned into kind of a dumping ground. We had a solar panel here. We were putting our old soil here. It just looked awful. It was full of weeds. And I was trying to decide what ornamentals I wanted to put in a place where I wasn't really going to get to enjoy them because we're rarely here. Then I decided that potatoes and garlic could be ornamentals. And suddenly I love the space. So all I did, I just dug up this area that you see. I planted potatoes on this side and some garlic over here. So here are some of my potatoes. These were planted a little bit later than the potatoes that I'm going to harvest today. The way that I plant potatoes is dead easy. I get potatoes from the grocery store, and once they start to sprout, because I've forgotten about them in the cupboard, I put them in the ground. Either the whole potato, or if it's got a couple of sprouts, I'll cut it into pieces so there's one good sprout per potato. And it's always a variety of potato that I like to eat, so I know I'm going to enjoy the harvest. And you might notice that I don't really have much in the way of hilling up here. All I do is put it pretty deep down, 12 inches if I can, and let it go. So it's nice and low maintenance. Potatoes do prefer an acidic soil, but when I was growing up, my dad had an area of lawn that he added a bunch of lime to. Lime raises the pH and makes soil basic instead of acidic, but the potatoes still grew. So I kind of don't really worry about that. As long as I have a generally healthy soil, I let them do their thing. It really couldn't be any simpler the way I do it. You can see here that my foliage is nice and green and leafy, and over here I've got a flower. So as soon as I see flowers or flower buds, I do come and pinch them off. I just sort of grab them like this and bump like that. And the reason I do that is I don't want the plant putting energy into the flowers and putting energy into making fruit, because the fruit that a potato makes is going to be poisonous anyway, and it's just taking away from the potato harvest that I care about. Have you heard that there are two main varieties of potatoes, determinate and indeterminate? It's true, but it doesn't matter in the same way that it does with tomatoes. With tomatoes, you're going to make different pruning choices depending on if it's a determinate or an indeterminate variety. But with potatoes, there's actually a lot of crossover. So all potatoes, you can hill them up. You don't really need to hill them up if you do it the way that I do. And it's more about, is it an earlier variety or a later variety in terms of how quickly those potatoes are going to form on the roots and stem beneath the soil. Depending on your climate, you may or may not notice potato flowers, and they may happen closer or farther away from when you want to harvest your potatoes. You can harvest your potatoes at kind of any time. If you've got flowers, then you probably have some good tuber development, but they're going to be a bit smaller. For these ones, I don't know if it picks up so well on film, but they are much yellower than the potatoes that we were just looking at. They're starting to die back, and you can see right here, it's starting to get limp in the middle. That's not because it needs water. It's just reaching the end of its leafy life cycle. So when the potatoes are like this, you don't have to harvest them right away, and if you leave them in the ground until the foliage has died back for 2 weeks, your potatoes will be fine, and in fact they'll store better because they'll get a nice thicker skin. But at this point, I can be pretty confident that my potatoes are as big as they're going to get. I'm getting as high of a harvest as I probably will if I wait, and they'll be a bit newer, thinner skinned, really tasty. I can be impatient and enjoy them tonight. So let's pick one to harvest. I think I like the look of this one maybe. Yeah, I've got things starting to wilt. So hopefully I'll get some good potatoes. I'll just come around. So a lot of people, when they harvest potatoes, they'll put a wide spaced fork or trowel or some sort of a digging tool into the soil to lift up the potatoes. I'm not going to do that because I know that this is fairly loosely packed soil, and also because I have a bean plant that's right here and I have other potatoes around that I'm not ready to harvest, so I want to disturb the soil as little as possible. Plus, I don't trust that I wouldn't accidentally stab one of the potatoes, and I really don't want to do that. I want to get them all. So all I'm going to do, and I do risk leaving potatoes behind this way, so I'm going to be careful. I'm just going to grab around the base of the plant like this, and almost like it's a carrot. Oh, I can feel some coming off, so I will have to dig a little bit with my hands. Let's see what I've got. Okay. Okay, I think I got them all. So I just made a little disruption here. I can fill in with some mulch or plant something new there. Not bad. I have 6 good-sized, beautiful-looking potatoes and a little tiny baby one. All this came out of what otherwise would have been straight compost, a piece of a sprouting potato from the grocery store. It took almost no effort. I barely have to water it because these plants have such lovely canopies that they keep the soil nice and moist. And now I've got dinner. Well, thanks for joining me for one of my potato harvests. I'm going to harvest the rest of them sort of slowly so I can enjoy them while they're fresh, which is my favorite way. If you like this video and want to see more, please check back soon here at LCK Gardens. I also have an Instagram, LCK Gardens as well. And leave a comment. I'd love to chat about potatoes with you. Thanks. Missed one.